Yeah.
What if you are already in these vicious cycles that you have more work to do, that you are able to do, and how to convince management that the only way is to drop something off the list, and because they are.
So are you in any type of an iterative, like any type of an iterative pull system, like Scrum or something?
Yes, let's say try.
Okay, remember the theory there is that the team tells management what they're capable of doing based on the velocity, of the proven velocity. That's the theory. And if you're operating according to the theory, it should take care of you, but obviously it isn't. Okay? So the thing that I think you should think of how to do is a commit and deliver, commit and deliver, commit and deliver. Everything you commit to, you absolutely deliver. Commit and deliver, and build up the confidence. And instead of push and don't deliver, push and don't deliver, push and don't deliver. You can also try to switch to see if a Kanban system would help you, but it probably won't, because there's a real need for estimation in your world. And so probably it's not the thing that you want. But if you can establish a commit and deliver with stable teams, then you start establishing a track record. And I've heard time and again from team after team that it takes a little bit of time, but after a while, when they establish a reliable track record of delivery, then their management starts to trust them. So you've got to stop overcommitting at the beginning of a sprint. You just have to get over it. Now, one of the tricks in stopping to overcommit is don't commit until you really know what it is that you are supposed to do. Which means, if I go back here, make sure that before you commit, your stuff is ready to go. Okay? Now you notice here, there's work done before the commit. Design work, lots of work done. So you have truly estimatable stories before you commit. So you've got a step here, and then you have the estimatable stories. Commit and deliver, commit and deliver. And establish a velocity with commit and deliver in a stable team. When you get that pace going, then you can get the attention of management that they have a reliable flow. Until you do, if you commit and don't deliver, you're not going to have the benefits. So don't overcommit. You've got to get overcommitting. No matter how much you have the pressure to do it. Which is, you know, on the small, you might be able to do it better than on the large. So you have to establish a flow track record. Once you have that, you have I've heard this from many teams, once they have a reliable velocity, they have leverage to have discussions with their management as to what is possible. And until you have a reliable velocity, you will not be able to have those discussions. Yeah.
And I guess how to balance maintaining options and eliminating waste.
What was the first one?
Balancing maintaining options and eliminating waste.
I heard eliminating waste. What's the other?
Maintaining options.
Well, maintaining options. Maintaining options eliminates waste. Okay, so that's what you have to believe. Now, if you were doing hardware, you would know that a really good design technique is to design 3 different things and decide as late as you could which one is going to go, because you have very complicated things that you have to try out. And taking just the one design decision and driving it through gives you much less knowledge. And so it's very common in hardware to do multiple options and understand that that's not waste. But it's not nearly so common in software. So try this one. Say that you're working away for 4 months, okay? And for some reason, every single thing that you did disappears. You know, I don't know. It just disappears, all your work. How long would it take you to recreate it? What? Yeah, how much quicker? It depends, but anybody want to guess? How much would it take you in your world? 50%. 50%? Okay. 25%? No. So there will be different numbers based on different worlds. But if you think about that, what were you doing the other 50% of the time? You were learning. Okay? Multiple options is a learning technique. And there are many ways to learn. One way is to play around with iterations and refactoring. Another way is to develop parallel multiple options, which turns out rarely to be much more expensive than the one option, and you tend to be able to make much better decisions. So where you have tricky, expensive decisions, developing multiple options feels more expensive, but it's almost never more expensive because it's the learning that goes on that gives you better results and, in fact, faster. And by allowing you to have a guaranteed delivery against a schedule. Because if you have 3 options and the schedule comes and you've only got 2 of them working, well, at least you have an option.
So where is the difference between, for example, adding another layer of iteration and adding another feature?
I have a friend in Portland who does control systems for paper mills. So he doesn't do iterations on his control systems. He has very specific, very fancy algorithms to control different processes in his plant. And the way he does it is when they have a thing that they've got to do, they immediately start on 2 or 3 different ways of doing it, and they carry them through all the way, a lot of them, through most of the project before they choose one. They don't do iterations. And because it's very intensive algorithm development, it works for them much better, he says, than iterations. It's also common in user interaction design. Design 3 or 4 user interfaces and have different people test them with usability studies and see which one works better. So there's definitely times when trying multiple things gives you better results and it even feels more natural than doing iteration. Iteration is very common in software because it's easy to change. But in areas that are not easy to change, trying multiple options in parallel is very common. So if you get stuck in an area that's very complex or tricky or expensive to change, then you want to try that. But it is not about eliminating waste. In fact, multiple options is a mechanism for eliminating waste.
What if the design is expensive itself?
Okay, so there will be a time when you have to make a trade-off. Is it really worth it? But typically, you're trying a couple or 3 different prototypes that are relatively similar, and it's all in the same knowledge learning environment. So yeah, that's where you're going to have to say, when does doing multiple options become waste, and when does it give you better decisions? But I would experiment in tricky areas with multiple options because many people are surprised at how much better things get when they try it in hard areas, not in easy areas, in tricky areas. So it's going to depend on your domain. Okay? Thanks, everybody. I think maybe